In this video, we will travel back in time to explore some of the most fascinating Sumerian texts ever deciphered. They tell the story of Enki, the god of water, wisdom, and magic, and his connection with the Great Flood that destroyed much of humanity. This myth appears in the epic accounts of Atrahasis and Gilgamesh around 2000 BC, which is 1,000 years before the first record of Noah's flood, and calls into question the credibility of the later biblical account. But as with many other ancient stories, there are many historical mysteries and alternative theories surrounding this event. According to the Sumerian text, Enki expressed a special wish. He wanted the memory of the flood to survive. But why would the god of water and wisdom have such a strange wish? As the story progresses, we see that Anunnaki chose to stay on Earth after the flood, while others left for their home planet of Nibiru. What has caused this division among them? Was there no disagreement about the flood? The leaders took oaths of silence. What were they trying to keep a secret? What were they afraid to reveal? We also read about the rescue of Marduk, who was given a new body and sent to live in peace on another planet. Is this just a myth? Or did the ancient Sumerians possess knowledge we are yet to discover? As we examine the ancient texts and the mysterious events described in them, we ask ourselves, was there more to the story of Enki and the flood than what we still don't know? Were the ancient Sumerians initiated into knowledge that we have not yet discovered?
Welcome to Consciousness Podcast, where we dive deep into the mysteries and the esoteric knowledge. Check out our main channel, Consciousness, for the video versions of all our episodes.
Ryan Moorhen is a biblical archaeologist who has devoted himself to the ancient Sumerian text. His work sheds new light on some of the most fascinating mysteries of human history. He pieces together clues from these ancient writings and discovers theories that challenge commonly held beliefs about the past. Moorhen has carefully examined ancient artifacts and deciphered ancient texts to uncover the secrets of this lost civilization. His conclusions have been met with skepticism as they challenge many long-held fundamental beliefs about the origins of human civilization. But Ryan remains steadfast, pursuing the truth with passion and dedication. Let's delve into his research and the deciphered account of Enki and the flood recorded over 4,000 years ago. Enki's desire for the memory of the flood to survive. The Sumerian god Enki shared a strange wish. He wanted a catastrophic flood to destroy all living things on Earth and its memory to live on afterwards. Enki's request was met with surprise and confusion by the other gods, but Enlil, his brother and leader of the Anunnaki gods, did not give his approval. When all eyes were on Ninma, the goddess of creation, she announced that her life's work was on Earth and she would not forsake the human beings she had created. Her words angered Enlil, who was outraged by the abomination of the earthlings and declared that they should be allowed to perish for their sins. Enki, as well as Ninma, saw in human beings a wonderful creation, the result of their efforts. He argued that they provided primitive workers with the opportunity to reproduce and endowed them with knowledge. He reminded his brother that they hold in their hands the power of the entire Creator. Despite their differences, Enlil announced that all leaders must solemnly swear to allow events to unfold according to his wishes. Enki's desire for the memory of the flood to live on was prompted by him seeing something more in people than just a failed race. He thought that if a select few pious and sane people did survive to keep the horror of the flood in their memories and live with the lessons of what happened, everything would most likely be put right. This raises some questions about the nature of the gods, their relationship with humanity, and their understanding of the universe. Questions we continue to explore. Some Anunnaki choose to stay on Earth. As the flood approached and some of the Anunnaki decided to stay on Earth, they believed they could weather the storm and continue their rule over humanity. However, the floods proved too strong, even for those mighty creatures. They tried to survive while the world was swallowed by their water, and eventually many of them died. Those who survived were forced to adapt to a new world in which humans became the dominant species. They tried to maintain their power and influence over humanity, but found their abilities diminished in this new world. As time passed, the Anunnaki became more secretive, working behind the scenes to exert their influence over humanity. The years passed, and to us men, they came and became more memories of gods and goddesses who once ruled. Many researchers believe that the Anunnaki not only continue to exist to this day, but also determine the course of human history. While there is no concrete evidence to support this theory, it remains an enticing possibility that continues to inspire speculation and investigation into the topic. The storage of various species by Enki and Ninma. The waters continued to rise, and Enki and Ninma were not content simply to save humanity from extinction. They also set out to preserve a wide variety of animals and plant species to ensure that the earth would be able to recover after the waters receded. Some evidence suggests that Enki and Ninma were aided in this task by other members of the Anunnaki who worked tirelessly to collect and preserve as many species as possible. Atrahasis, at Enki's behest, built a huge vessel and loaded it with everything from ants and beetles to elephants and giraffes, the conditions on board being carefully controlled to ensure that each creature had the best possible chance of survival. It's not entirely clear why Enki and Ninma were so devoted to the preservation of such a wide variety of species. Some suggest that they simply felt it was their duty to protect all life forms, while others believe that they may have had more practical considerations in mind. One intriguing theory holds that they actually worked to create a new ecosystem on Earth that was better adapted to the post-flood environment. By conserving diverse species, they hoped to usher in a new, more resilient ecosystem that would thrive even after a devastating global catastrophe. Of course, we may never know for sure what motivated Enki and Ninma to undertake such a monumental task. But what is clear is that their efforts helped ensure the survival of countless species and set the stage for the eventual resurgence of life on Earth. Saving Marduk. As the waters began to recede, Enki and Ninma devised a plan to rescue Marduk from his watery prison. Marduk was imprisoned in the underworld for defying the council of the Anunnaki and helping to save humanity. Enki knew that he had to act fast if he wanted to save him. He sent his son Nabu in the underworld to retrieve Marduk. He managed to find him and bring him to the surface, but Marduk was badly wounded and half alive. Enki and Ninma used their knowledge of genetics to create a new body for Marduk, using DNA from his old body and DNA from other beings. His new body was strong and healthy, and he was able to inhabit it. However, the Council of the Anunnaki still considered him a criminal and ordered his execution. Enki and Ninma, who had loved Marduk during this time on Earth, were determined to save him. They came up with a daring plan to remove him from Earth and transport him to a distant planet where he could live out his days in peace. The plan required the cooperation of several other Anunnaki who were sworn to secrecy. Thus, they were able to carry out their plan, and Marduk was saved from certain death. The council was furious when it found out what had happened. Enki and Ninma were forced to take an oath of silence that prevented them from revealing the truth about saving Marduk. The events surrounding his rescue and subsequent concealment remain one of the greatest mysteries in ancient Sumerian history. However, this passage again reveals the possibility of the Anunnaki leaving Earth and inhabiting other planets. Were they able to create life on other planets? Did they possess knowledge beyond our understanding? These are just some of the questions we continue to explore. Oaths of silence taken by leaders. As life on Earth begins to recover, a new chapter in human history is about to unfold. According to some theories, the events that occurred during and after the flood were not fully disclosed to the public, and some leaders took an oath of silence to keep the truth hidden. The Anunnaki who remained on Earth after the flood faced a difficult decision. They had to rebuild civilization from scratch and had to decide which knowledge and technology to pass on to the people. Some of them believed that the humanity should be allowed to grow and develop independently, without the intervention of the advanced beings. Others, that is capable of surviving on its own without their guidance. The Anunnaki leaders took a solemn oath to keep the truth hidden from us humans. They would only reveal certain knowledge and technology if it was necessary for our survival. This secret has been kept for thousands of years, with only a select few initiates gaining access to the full knowledge of the Anunnaki. Some argue that there is no evidence to support these theories, while others point to ancient texts and legends to support their validity. But haven't you sometimes wondered how discoveries, inventions, etc. suddenly appear in our history that move us decades ahead? Is there not something bigger behind it? Or are these discoveries just the fruit of genius people? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Introduction of Earth years and creation of sanctuaries and festivals. After the flood, Enki and his fellow Anunnaki tried to establish a new order on Earth. They introduced the concept of Earth years and created shrines and festivals to mark the survival of different species and the new beginning of life on Earth. Enki instructed the surviving humans on the concept of counting years, which they were used to mark time and celebrate various events. The festivals included the Akitu festival, which marked the beginning of the new year and the renewal of the earth, and the Zakmuk festival, which celebrated Marduk's victory over the forces of chaos. He also created sanctuaries and were dedicated to the preservation of various species and served as a reminder of the Anunnaki's responsibility to protect life on Earth. It remains a mystery, however, whether the Anunnaki did not have more selfish motives for introducing these concepts. Did they not use earthly years and festivals to assert their control over human civilization and maintain their power and influence? The choice of a deserving person to maintain civilized humanity after an impending catastrophe. In the deciphered Sumerian account of Enki and the flood, in the end, the gods decided that a man must be chosen to preserve civilized mankind after an impending catastrophe. The candidate had to be worthy and righteous, someone who could be entrusted with the sacred knowledge of the gods. This raises many questions about the nature of the coming catastrophe, as well as the identity and qualifications of the chosen person. And who was deemed worthy enough to carry on this legacy of the gods? It has been suggested that this candidate may have been an actual historical figure, while others believe that it was a metaphorical representation of the human race as a whole. Nevertheless, the idea of a chosen one tasked with preserving the knowledge and values of higher power is a recurring theme in the mythology and religion of various cultures. Perhaps the story of Enki and the flood serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that our actions have consequences and that we should strive to be worthy of the trust and knowledge we are giving. Or perhaps it's a call to action, a message that we must prepare for the challenges ahead and strive to be the best versions of ourselves so that we're ready to meet whatever awaits us. Whatever the interpretation, the story of Enki and the flood continues to intrigue us, inviting us to ponder these mysteries of our past and the possibilities of our future.
If you're interested in watching a video version of these episodes, we encourage you to subscribe to our main channel, Consciousness. There, you'll find video versions of all our podcasts, as well as other thought-provoking content. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.